Success in a competitive freelance environment like illustration has as much to do with mindset than it does with talent. When an illustrator has the willingness to learn, embraces challenges, and can stay motivated after a setback, they're unstoppable. This is a growth mindset. And that term comes from Carol Dweck's groundbreaking work, which I read about in her book, Mindset. In it, she defines two types of mindsets: a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. People with a fixed mindset believe that their skills and talents are fixed and they can't be changed. So they don't try to change. They avoid challenging themselves and they avoid situations where they could fail, and ultimately they'd rather not try. You might know someone who says things like, "I'm terrible at maths," or "I'm a bad cook." If you grow up saying that to yourself for 20 years, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you say it to yourself often enough, then you'll believe it and you'll make it part of your personality. Someone with a growth mindset, on the other hand, might say, "I'm not as good at cooking as I'd like to be." And then they'll go check out YouTube or some other learning platform and try some beginners cooking classes. They know that their skills can be developed with dedication and practice. They embrace those challenges and don't let the occasional burnt Yorkshire pudding put them off. They look for things that they want to improve about themselves and they put the effort into improving them. So, let's explore how this can be applied to a freelance illustration career. Embrace challenges. Illustration and freelancing in general is full of challenges. Learning new skills, developing a style, working to deadlines, and dealing with feedback from clients. These things can all be difficult and negative if we let them be. But if we reframe them through a growth mindset, they're all opportunities to learn and to improve. Imagine a professional illustrator who's in their 50s or 60s now. Think about how many technological advances they've had to navigate during their career. When they started out, they probably didn't know how to use a computer. They would have had to go out and sell their work to clients in person because they didn't have an email address when they were at art college. They've had to learn an enormous amount of new skills over the course of their career. And no doubt, many people have fallen out of the freelance illustration game with every major technological advance. Some analog artists would have just never got to grips with digital tech and just given up. And just think of all the different software packages there have been over the last decade or even 5 years alone. Each one of those is a big investment of time and energy to learn, and some people just don't. They find a process that works for them and they stop learning. And that is the beginning of the end of their career. With a growth mindset, you're not afraid to get out of your comfort zone and experiment. You know that you're going to be making some crappy work while you learn the ins and outs of Procreate or After Effects, but you also know that that effort is worth it. And things are going to continue to advance at an even quicker rate. The best competitive advantage you can develop in yourself now is learning how to learn quickly, because the way the industry works, the software you use, and the projects you'll work on will be very different in 10 years. Learning. Carol Dweck's research emphasizes the importance of continuous learning and development. Your creative practice is never ending. If you get to a point where you're comfortable and you know what you want to produce, then that comfort might take over the creativity. Looking for online classes and workshops and mentors, and even looking outside illustration for new creative skills, means that your work will always be innovative and interesting. 10 years ago, I knew almost nothing about the illustration industry. And in another 10 years, I'll probably look back now and think, he knew nothing. There's always more to learn. Let me know in the comments what skills or knowledge you've got now that you're glad you invested time and energy into over the last few years. Setbacks. Setbacks are inevitable in any career, but it's really how we respond to them that matters. More than likely, you've been ignored or rejected by a client. Is that going to stop you trying again? I hope not. If you have a growth mindset, you know that if a client isn't interested in your work now, Next year, you'll have more skills, better work in your portfolio, and more experience. You won't be the same illustrator that you are now. So why not try again and see if they're interested? Getting rejected by a client isn't a permanent failure. It's just a sign that you've got a bit more work to do before you can win that client over. It's useful feedback. So how can you cultivate your growth mindset? Goal setting gets mixed press these days, but you've got to know what you're aiming at. And if you've got a big career goal in mind, you also have the ability to break that goal down into smaller tasks and steps. And when you set realistic but challenging goals for yourself, and then you follow through and you take action towards those goals, you build up momentum in your career and you reinforce to yourself that you're the kind of person who can learn new things and can overcome challenges and can smash through those goals. You can turn, I'm not sure if I can do it, so I won't try, into I can do anything that I set my mind to. Seeking feedback is also really important for developing your mindset. I have a whole video about the importance of feedback on the channel here, but the feedback you get from other artists, teachers, and clients gives you valuable information you can use to improve your work. Who you spend time with is really important too. I've been reflecting recently on how lucky I am to have some really supportive, growth-minded people in my life that I can speak to regularly about work, life, goals, setbacks, whatever. When I speak to them, I feel energized and excited to take on new challenges. But I also have people in my life who are the exact opposite, who make me feel shitty about having goals and ambition and dreams, and who want me to stay the same because that's what's best for them. You can't necessarily cut people like that out of your life entirely, but you can try to spend more time with the people who energize and encourage you and less with the ones who don't. I believe that we are all capable of enormous positive change. It's not easy, and it requires a certain mindset. If it was easy, everyone would do it. Ask yourself, are you satisfied with the skills, opportunities, and career you have now? Or are you willing to invest in yourself for something better? See you next time. I'm just going to retake that because I bumped into a tree.